Mishpucha, it's Courtney, America's Jewish mother. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am now in my regular background location for filming. I returned to Athens yesterday so that I could go vote today. Go democracy. And in case you were interested, it was super easy. It was very wham bam, thank you ma'am. I went over to my polling location around 10 a.m. and I was in and out in about 5 minutes flat. There was hardly no one there. I didn't have to wait at all, or there was hardly anyone there. I did not have to wait at all. There were, I think, only 3 other people in there who were voting at the same time that I was, and it was all very easy, so woohoo! I mean, I know this has not been the case for everyone who lives in the state of Georgia, but I am grateful that it was very easy for me to go vote. So fingers crossed, go America. Okay, so I am here today to do my 2020 final reading stats video. So in the year of 2020, I read in total 122 books. So here is the breakdown of what kinds of books I read last year. So I read 62 novels or novellas, which made up just over 50% of my overall reading. I read 31 non-fiction books, which was 25% of my overall reading. I read 12 poetry collections, which made up just under 10% of my overall reading. 8 short story collections, although I would argue that it was actually more than 8 because several books that I personally would count as short stories, like The Women of Brewster Place, or Hope and Other Dangerous Pursuits, or Love Medicine, are listed as being novels, but really they're interconnected short stories. But I didn't count them. If it said novel on the cover, I counted it as a novel. So, read 8 short story collections, 7 plays or collected plays, but I read a number of collected plays this year, so actually if I count up the individual plays that I read 20 individual plays in all, but I'm only counting it as 7 books because 2 of them were collections of 4 plays. There were 4 plays by Henrik Ibsen that I read and 4 plays by Eugene O'Neill that I read. 1 was a collection of Lorraine Hansberry's last 3 plays, and then 1 was a collection of 6 or 7. I don't remember, and I don't want to pull the book off the shelf to look. I think it was 6, though. 6 plays by Clifford Odets in 1 collection. So yeah, I read a lot of plays, even though 7 doesn't sound like a lot. It's more when you look at how many individual plays I actually read, but I only counted it as 7. 1 graphic novel and 1 anthology. So those are all the books that I read. Of those 122 books, 55 of them were written by women and 64 of them were written by men. 1 was written by a non-binary writer, 1 was written by male-female co-authoring team, and 1 was an anthology that had contributions from both men and women. So in terms of the gender divide, 45% of my overall reading was written by women and 52% was written by men. Now, I'm not totally happy with that. I do think that's as pretty close to even without being exactly 50-50 as you can get. But I would prefer it to be 50-50, and if one of them is higher than the other one, I would actually prefer to be reading more women than men overall. So I'll see if I can do better about that this year. And then in terms of racial breakdown, I read 57 books that were written by people of color and 65 that were written by white people. So the books that were written by people of color comprise 47% of my overall reading, and books by white people comprise 53% of my overall reading. Again, that's about as close to 50-50 as you can get without quite making it, but I would prefer, again, for my reading to be either, pretty much an exact 50-50 split, or if it's going to favor, POC or white authors, I would prefer it to favor POC rather than white authors. So again, that's something I'm going to be trying to pay a bit more attention to in my 2021 reading. My most read authors in 2020 were Daniel Silva, because I read 6 books in the Gabrielle Allon series, and also Louise Erdrich. I read 4 standalone novels by her, Love Medicine, Tracks, Plague of Doves, and The Last Report on Miracles of Little No Horse. 27 books that I read were library books, so either a physical copy, an ebook, or an audiobook, and 95 were books that I owned, either rereads because I was teaching them or I just wanted to reread them, books that were owned but previously unread, or new books that I acquired in 2020. So I felt like that was pretty good, and it would be good if I could keep my percentage of reading books that I own versus reading books that I get from the library around that same level. I would really like that, because I think the vast majority of my reading should be books that I already own. So that's it. Not quite, sorry. The other couple of things I wanted to mention in the stats video is that, as I've mentioned previously, 2 of my reading goals for 2020 were to read more Jewish and LGBTQ writers, so I ended up reading a total of 28 books by Jewish writers and 21 books by LGBTQ writers in 2020, which comprises a combined total of 40% of my overall reading for the year, so I felt pretty good about that. And then my other goal was to get the number of books in my physical TBR down to under 100, and I am happy to report that as of December 31st, or January 1, or even today when I'm filming this, January 5th, right, I am currently at 96 books, and in fact, I'm going to finish another book today, so it's going to be down to 95. Woohoo! Now, it is going to go back up back up over 100, because I have to buy some books for my for reading Women Challenge prompts and for my Arab American literature project that I'm doing, and probably a couple more that I just want to buy in addition to that. So it is going to go back up under 100. Why do I keep saying under 100? Over 100. It's going to go back up over 100 this month, but my goal is to keep it under 100. So I want to reduce that back down pretty quickly and be very mindful about how many books I bring into my library this year. And in fact, I didn't do too badly with that last year. I think I only, for books that I actually bought for myself, for my own library, I only brought in about 24 books that I actually bought for myself. Now, I did receive more books than that, because Lindsay and I did our holiday book exchange. Lindsay and some other people also gave me books for my birthday and other occasions. So I did bring in more books to my library than just the 24 that I bought myself, but I felt pretty good about that about 24 was all the books that I actually bought for myself. So happy with that, and hope to keep it the same or even better in 2021. So alright, so I think that's actually everything I wanted to cover. So thank you for watching this. I'm curious to hear your own stats for your 2020 reading. So if you have a stats video or are planning to post a stats video, let me know that down in the comments below. And yeah, I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. I hope you're doing good reading whatever you're reading. And until next time, would it kill you to call you mama?